Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's time for me to talk about A, way too many comic books that no normal human being should have on their pull list, and B, me to go, I haven't read half of this because I still have about 200 books on my to-read list from a vacation and just the summer being a dick in general, and as the great Taylor Winder will tell us, don't be a dick. So to see what I'm pulling this week, and maybe I'll read, you'll have to check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Couple of quick announcements. Number one, as announced, this hardcover Nottingham Volume 1 with an amazing signed bookplate from the David Hazan and the Sean Connery-Volk, the author and the primary artist on this series, who are both Talent Search winners from 2020, whenever fuck COVID is. You can get this if you are a channel member. That will happen on either the last Shop Talk of July or the first Shop Talk of August. So, if you got free 99 cents throw my way, click that button down below, and you will get on the wheel to try and win this. Number two, this Thursday night, we are going live for Shop Talk again at 9:30 Central, where it's going to be full of shenanigans for two reasons. Number one, it's Shop Talk, and who knows what the hell we're going to talk about. But second, Jelly and J1 are going to be live from either California or from A&K Comics, where they're there for, it's got a real name, but it's Gorkum Fest, that they're getting to meet Gorkum Demir, and J1 and Jelly and probably KM are gonna scar that man to death. AM's not gonna harm them because AM is an angel. Also, make sure if you're into hopping around to things on Thursday night, I think it's at 8 o'clock Central. I gotta get the time right, and I'll make sure to put a big note down here, but make sure you check out the Mad Chatter, which is the show over on the Madhouse Comics and Collectibles channel, where they're talking about all kinds of things. And I think one of the topics that's going to lead them off for this week is both, is there what are some blue chip books to invest in? And I think the hammer thrown down by Robot Monster Island, Remy, or, Old Man Vegan Jesus is, what's a modern comic that may be a blue chip? I pointed at this book right here to start off Shop Talk for the week, so I'm excited to see what they got. But make sure to check out those fellas, and definitely hop onto their Patreon, because if you support them at the $25 a month level, you are guaranteed to get a Helvetica art print for the month. And last month it was a Shenanigans in ASM 300 homage cover. This month it's I'm bad at Spawn, but I think it's like Spawn 212. And if Helvetica tells me it's okay, then I'll drop the image right here that he showed me, because it's ridiculous. I'm just bad at knowing Spawn covers, like I'm bad at knowing a bunch of other stuff. So without further ado, let's see our pull list. Alright, book number one is 7174 Presents number 1 from Image Comics. I did not pull the annual. I don't know when the annual came out, but I want to hunt it down. But it is focusing on the art style that Ashley Wood is in love with. I initially pulled this just from seeing the cover, going like, this looks like the folks who are doing the Zombie vs. Robots, or the people who did Rain, the same publishing company. But if this is just an art expose, then I am down to dive into it, especially if I can find the annual, because I love art books, I love director's cuts, I love silent issues. So I'm excited to look at something that's just showing a love affair with different art styles. Next up, another Image book is Above Snakes number 1. I picked this because, I saw snakes and something that looked like was flying. I was like, snakes on a plane, the comic, which it's nowhere near that. From the team that did The Few and Thumbs, I have not read The Few, but I read Thumbs and enjoyed it. So Sean Lewis, I'm excited for. King Spawn is the thing that he gets a parenthetical citation for having. You know how I am about Spawn. I talked about it in the announcements, how bad I am at Spawn. But where I'm sold is you have any solicitation that shouts out their letterer as a rock star, especially if it's Hassan Otsami Elho. Fuck yes. I am super stoked to check this out. Next from Valiant is Archer and Armstrong Forever #3. I have read the first one, and I really enjoyed kind of the look for restoring Armstrong's immortality. I have not read #2 yet, but it is in my next 10 books to read, so I know I'll be able to be current with #3 on Wednesday. Next up, Barbaric the Harvest Blades #1 from Vault. I'm excited because I enjoyed the crazy world of the Talking Axe. In Barbaric, the first 3-issue volume from this, I liked the, the Free Comic Book Day title, a short look into what everything might be going on in this universe. So I'm excited for book 1 of volume #2. Next up from Scout / their Black Caravan imprint is Behemoth #1. Again, this has a Metamorphosis style feel to it in terms of looking at the solicitation where a woman wakes up and realizes she is she is slowly transforming into a monster. However, instead of the solitude story that comes from Kafka's The Metamorphosis, she gets thrown into a camp, so we see what will happen with other people who may be transforming into monsters. Next up from Opus Comics is Bill and Ted Roll the Dice #2. I've talked about my love of D&D stuff. Y'all know that I am a huge fan of Bill and Ted. I've talked about my use of it as a project in my history classes before. Issue #1 is still in my to-read pile, but I'm ready to check this out and roll the dice along with the folks over at Opus Comics telling us to be excellent to each other. Next up from Marvel is Captain Carter #4. I'm only up to issue #2, but I enjoyed the first 2. It was fun watching what happened to Captain Carter in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, right? I got to watch that like last week when it finally went live on streaming, and it was fun and sad watching what happened to her. Next up, we get Daredevil #1. I have loved everything that Zdarsky and Checchetto have done on Daredevil. I thought the entire Devil's Reign event was brilliant. The only thing that I haven't read to prepare me for this, or I think to prepare me for this, is the Devil's Reign Omega book that came out 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I don't know. It's also in that next 15 books to read to have me ready to go on this. Next up is a book that might be odd for me to be on the poll list, and it's Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League, Superman #1. So I read, Dark Crisis 0 and 1. I read Death of the Justice League, which was like Justice League 75. So I'm slowly sneaking my way into this event. I don't know what made me pick up a book where it's like, Superman's dead, with the exception of like a throwback to, the Death of Superman storyline that was happening as I was a kid in the early 90s, so we'll see from there. Next up from Aftershock is Dogs of London #3. I've enjoyed the first 2 of this, that I made sure to grab that book and take it with me when I traveled to South Carolina to get caught up in terms of looking at what is going to happen to the dogs as we learn more about the bodies that they thought were not just buried, but long decomposed. So I'm excited to get this 3rd chapter in the midst of the 60s. Our next book is 8 Billion Genies #3. I haven't read #2 yet. I was excited to see that this series has been optioned by, I think it was Netflix, in terms of looking at what happens when everybody gets a genie. And remember, the cool thing about this is it happens in terms of 8s, in terms of the story progression. So we got 8 minutes in the first issue. Issue #2 was 8 hours after everybody got a genie, and now we are in 8 days after 8 billion have appeared. So I'm excited to see what, happens 8 days later after I get caught up on my 8 hours later. Next up is Fortnite Marvel Zero War #2. I still don't know why I'm pulling this. I haven't read the first one. The Illusion Witch. I missed issue #1, which I'm on the hunt for. But I'm trying to get you know, all things Behemoth on my list, and just the cover to this looks dope. Let's see, X-Men I'm behind on, Marauders I'm behind on, Moon Knight